What's going on, everybody? This is episode 3, Daybreak vlog. Going to talk about a lot of cool stuff today. Kind of go over a project I'm finishing up. And kind of go over some things here and explain the difference between some things and kind of give an overview of why we use certain materials over other materials when we're printing, and how we go about making things like jerseys. So I'm finishing up this jersey project. As you can see right here is a pile of jerseys. Those are jerseys sitting right there, and they're all finished up, and just working on fixing my lovely sewing machine so I can finish stitching the tags on, and they're good to go. So we'll kind of go over some things and explain why we use certain materials, what materials we use to make jerseys, how we go about making the jerseys, why we would use one material over another material, and things like that. So yeah, before we get into it, don't forget to head over to Instagram and follow us on Instagram so you can keep up to date with all our daily stuff that we're doing. And go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel. You can hit the notification bell too, and you get notified whenever we release another video. So that's all that fun stuff. So let's talk for a minute. Let's talk about vinyl, with specifically heat transfer vinyl. Instead of just talking about it, I can show you it. So right here we have a roll of heat transfer vinyl. This is for pressing into clothing. So they make lots and lots of different kinds of vinyl like this. They make lots of different kinds of vinyl. This is specifically designed, this type of vinyl that I'm holding right here is designed for clothing, for decorating clothing. And they make vinyl with like different finishes, like reflective finishes. So like, for example, like security guards and people like that are out sort of like in the midst of like maybe traffic or things like that. They want like reflective print on their jackets or whatever. So you would get like some reflective vinyl to print stuff like that. They make all kinds of like fun, crafty kind of vinyl too, with like crazy designs on it and whatnot. But for me, I basically have like a bunch of white vinyl, like a huge roll of white vinyl here. I have another big roll of, this is also white vinyl, but it's like thicker. So the print is just like thicker. It lays down a thicker print, and it's kind of just like a cool, like kind of just it feels cool, feels nice, and it's just something different. So yeah, I basically have a bunch of white vinyl on hand at all times, because it seems like that's the majority of what I'm printing is white. I mean, like any screen printer or anyone who prints clothing knows that like printing white on black is like the most, that's what everybody wants. Everyone wants black t-shirts with white print. So you got to have a lot of black t-shirts, and you got to have a lot of white ink and a lot of white vinyl. You got to get good at screen printing with white ink, because screen printing with white ink that's like one thing that I've learned that you really got to master before you can master printing with other inks. You really got to get good at printing with white ink, because it's different. Every ink is different the way it prints. So anyway, yeah, so we got all this vinyl here, and then you see it comes on these rolls. So it's like it comes on these rolls here, and if I was a very organized and clean and organized businessman, I would have like hangers on the wall, and I'd like hang these up. But instead I have a big pile of rolls next to me on the floor. So basically, you have to, in order to get vinyl, the way to get it, like you have to cut your design into it. So if you want to be really sporty, like super sporty, you could you could cut it by hand. If you want to be like really cool, if you want to be like one of the coolest dudes on the block, you could cut your vinyl by hand, and that would be really crazy. But if you're not that cool, like me, I'm not that cool. You got to use something like a vinyl cutter. And right next to me on my desk that you can't see out of the frame, I have a vinyl cutter. And basically, if you looked at it, you would think it's a printer, just like a regular computer printer to print like copier paper. But it's not a printer; it's a cutter, and it can cut. The type of machine that I use specifically, there's tons of different kinds of vinyl cutters, tons of different kinds. There's like huge ones, like giant, really big ones for cutting like huge vinyl decals, for decorating all kinds of things, for decorating like the big thing would be like storefront, like business storefront for decorating doors and decorating windows and stuff like that. You would get like a huge vinyl cutter to cut out stuff like that. I can't even think of other things that you would use a huge vinyl cutter for because the possibilities are basically endless. But if you're like me and you're really just decorating clothing and stuff like that, you want to just get like a regular like tabletop vinyl cutter. They make lots of different kinds. The most popular is the Cricut, and that's actually what I have. I have the Cricut Maker 3, and my lovely mother bought it for me just as a gift, and I could not be more impressed with this machine. I think it's seriously amazing. It's a really amazing piece of equipment. I think a lot of people like they think of like a Cricut and they think it's like maybe just not like a serious piece of equipment, or it's just like something that you get and you like mess around and like make like crafts with, and you can just totally like just make like little crafts and like do like small stuff and make like little one-off things and whatnot. But like to me, like the way I've been using the Cricut, it's like very much a very like professional piece of equipment. It's made incredibly well. It cuts amazing. I've had no issues with cutting. In fact, it cuts kind of strong, and I've had to kind of dial back the settings a little bit so that it doesn't cut all the way through the vinyl. But I couldn't be more impressed with it. It's definitely like it's not just like a crafting like toy. It's definitely like a serious piece of equipment that you can really utilize to your advantage to do a lot of different things. So let's talk about why I would choose to use the vinyl cutter as opposed to screen printing something downstairs in the shop. So like the easiest way to explain the Cricut, or not just the Cricut, like the easiest way to explain why I would use a vinyl cutter as opposed to screen printing is more for doing large amounts of products. So like if you have to print, I mean, it's really not a large amount, but if you had to print like 30 t-shirts, that's like a pretty small amount. But if you had to print like 30 t-shirts, I'm not going to cut out 30 images I'm not going to cut out 30 images on vinyl and press them into shirts. I'm going to burn a screen with the stencil and have that one screen and bang out 30 shirts in less than an hour that way. So it's kind of like, but if you flip that around, I'm not going to screen print one t-shirt. I'm not going to screen print 5 t-shirts. I'm probably not going to screen print 10 t-shirts because I don't know anybody that would. I mean, so like you can try finding someone that's going to screen print you 10 t-shirts, but I mean, good luck. I mean, most big like screen printing shops, they have like 30 shirt minimums usually. something like that. It's usually like 30 or 20 or 25. Um, and the reason that it's a difficult and a pain to screen print small amounts of shirts is because you have to, the process to actually make your screen, to burn your screen and to make your stencil, that's time consuming. It takes time to make your screen. And then on top of it, once you flood your screen with a bunch of ink, it takes a lot of time to clean the screen. To thoroughly get all of the extra ink off of it when you're done takes forever. And and it's just, so the process of screen printing is more so for, screen printing is good for doing large volumes of things, like 30 shirts, 30 or more, pieces of clothing is what you want to screen print. So that's so really what we use vinyl for, and what I use vinyl for, is for doing custom, like one-off pieces, and doing, if I want to just do like one hoodie, like this hoodie that I'm wearing, I just cut out this logo right here, this DE logo. I just cut it out on the vinyl cutter and press it into the shirt on the heat press, or press it into the sweatshirt on the heat press, and I'm done. I don't have to worry about making a screen. I don't have to worry about coating a screen, burning a screen, flooding the screen with ink, cleaning the screen when I'm done. There's a lot of stuff there that you got to do when you're screen printing. It's kind of an involved process. And the vinyl situation, the vinyl cutter is simple because you just line up your whatever you want in the computer. You get it all set up in the computer software. Like, I just line up this logo, and this is vinyl right here. This is a vinyl. I press this into this hoodie. It's vinyl, and you just line it up in the computer and you cut it out on the Cricut. It takes less than 2 minutes for a small logo like this. Press it into the hoodie or into the shirt, and you're done. No time. Takes no time at all. So that's primarily why I use a vinyl cutter, is for doing like really custom stuff. Like if somebody just wants like one t-shirt that says like best grandpa ever, yeah, sure, I can make that for you. No problem. I cut it out with the vinyl cutter in whatever font and however they want it to look, and I'm done. Doesn't take much time. So yeah, so I hope I explained that well. I hope I explained that like well, as to like how or like why you would choose to use vinyl over like screen printing with plastisol ink or water-based ink. So yeah, like we talked about, there's tons of different kinds of vinyl. And another thing to take into consideration with vinyl is you can get very stretch vinyl that stretches a lot. So plastisol ink does not stretch very much. If you stretch plastisol ink a lot, it's going to crack. And that's where vinyl comes in. So a lot of like athletic clothing, a lot of quote unquote fitness apparel, which is like one of my favorite terms in the clothing industry, is fitness apparel. Because it's like, what does that even mean? I don't know what fitness apparel means. It's such like a vague term, but people use it, so they use it all the time. It's like, I don't know what that means. Like, I wear t-shirts from the thrift store to the gym. Is that fitness apparel? I don't know. I wear sweatpants that I cut into shorts. Is that fitness apparel? What's not fitness apparel? I don't know. But anyway, a lot of fitness apparel, like stretchy. When I think of fitness apparel, I think of stuff that is like synthetic fabrics, like polyester, nylon, stuff like that stretches and is quote unquote breathable. That's what I think of when I think of fitness apparel. So, I've had like people in the gym like people in the gym or people in public, like they'll like ask me like, "Oh, are you selling fitness apparel?" I'm like, I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're gonna have to like explain to me. What does that mean to you? Because I don't know what that means. Like, no, I sell T-shirts, I sell tank tops. You can wear them when you're exercising. You can wear them when you're not exercising, right? Like, I don't care when you wear them. But anyway, that like synthetic fabric and spandex especially. So like anything that has spandex in it that's gonna like stretch a lot, you need to use some kind of vinyl, specifically like a stretch vinyl, a vinyl that's gonna, if you're gonna print a logo on something like that, it needs to be like a stretch vinyl, and so that it stretches when somebody puts like if someone puts on some like booty shorts or yoga pants or whatever, and it stretches. You better hope that print you put on there is going to stretch with it, because if it doesn't stretch, it's just going to crack. It's literally going to crack into pieces. So, let's talk about some misconceptions about vinyl. I think vinyl has, from my understanding, has come an extremely long way as far as like the technology, the quality. It's come a really long way over the last even like 10, 15 years from everything that I've read and everything I've researched on. I think vinyl sort of has like a bad rap. When people think of vinyl, they think of like iron on, like just somebody just like ironing on the whatever they cut or whatever vinyl they're using. And you can do that. Like you can iron on vinyl and get away with that to a degree. But that's not what we use. That's not the technique that we use at Daybreak Enterprises. We use heat press. And a heat press is totally different than an iron. It's completely different. And the reason it's completely different is because it clamps and closes under a very high amount of pressure. So it's a very, very, very tight, and it squeezes and it clamps down extremely tight to create a really good bond between whatever you're pressing. So like with vinyl, for example, vinyl super thin, very thin. You can get thicker vinyl like I talked about. Like I have this vinyl down here that's really thick and really nice, and I like to use that on certain things just because it has a different finish in it, and I think it looks cool. But this, like on this sweatshirt, this is a really thin vinyl. So when I line this up on the heat press, I'm really going to crank up the pressure and make it extremely tight. And you can't really see, but if you looked closely at this, you can actually see how fused the vinyl is to the ridges of the fabric. Like it's like literally you can see like the ridges of the fabric. Like it's completely fused to the fabric. And you're not going to get that total like really precise fusion to the fabric with just using an iron, because it's not enough pressure. You're not creating enough pressure. You're not smashing it down tight enough to where it's going to fuse to every single part of the fabric. So like fabric, like this sweatshirt it's not completely flat. It's not like a completely like flat surface. There's like tiny little divots, and there's tiny little creases and grooves. And the only way you're going to get the vinyl into every single one of those like tiny little creases and grooves is by smashing it really, really, really hard with a heat press and getting and really like fusing that vinyl completely to the fabric. You're not going to be able to get enough pressure with an iron. And that's the reason why like just using an iron, a lot of times that vinyl is going to bubble and come off really easily, because it's not totally fused to the fabric. Because the pressure is not high enough. It's just not enough pressure to get down into like all the like tiny little grooves and like really make sure it's like 100% fused to the fabric. So that's the main reason iron on and using just like an iron is just like not that awesome. is because it's just not enough pressure. Um, so yeah, the best way, I don't, with a lot of vinyl that I use, I don't even think you can use an iron. I don't think an iron is enough pressure to even get it to fuse to the fabric. So we press everything with a heat press under heavy pressure, really heavy pressure, and really get our stuff fused in there really well. Let's talk about durability and quote unquote quality. So this is kind of a tough one to answer because if you follow the care instructions, so our care instructions specifically state that you need to wash our stuff inside out. So you want to flip stuff inside out. And the reason you want to flip stuff inside out is so that when it's flopping around in the washing machine, it's not banging into all like the plastic pieces and stuff inside the washing machine. So it's not getting, there's no like abrasions or anything. So you want to flip our stuff inside out, wash it in cold water, and hang dry it. And if you do those three things, I mean, these prints are gonna last like extremely long time. They're not gonna bubble up and crack and come apart. That bubble, like that disintegration of the vinyl, that like bubbling and cracking and peeling and all that stuff, that's from the dryer. So, I talked about vinyl technology coming a long way, and it has come a long way. However, and this isn't just vinyl, this is printing in general. This is all printing. So plastisol ink, water-based ink, anything. The manufacturers haven't found ways to make vinyl plastisol ink like 100% heat resistant. So basically what happens when you put something in the dryer and you dry something on high heat, this print right here, this print is going to heat up, and it's going to heat up to 3, maybe even 400 degrees. And not only is it going to heat up to 300 or 400 degrees, it's going to stay at 300 or 400 degrees until the dryer shuts off. So you're heating this up past where it's supposed to be heated up to, and then you're keeping it there for however long you're drying something for. It could be an hour. So that's the reason prints, plastisol ink, vinyl, any kind of print, that's why it bubbles, peels, cracks, degrades, is from the abuse of dryers. Dryers are extremely rough on clothes, extremely hard on clothes. Trying to get a load of laundry dry in an hour is a tall task. We hook up gas lines to dryers to get it hot enough to dry stuff in an hour, because we need everything done extremely quickly. We can't. And I get it, right? Like, I dry clothes. I need some stuff dried quickly. Like, I understand that, but I also, with stuff like this hoodie, like I'll never dry this hoodie. I'll always hang it up unless it's like I need it for some reason. I need it dried. Yeah, I'll maybe dry it one time. But I mean, like my hoodies, a lot of my clothes, I just hang stuff up. I hang it on hangers, or you can buy like drying racks. You can hang it up outside on a line. It's better for the environment. You're going to save money on your electric bill. I mean, especially if if you have a big family, you have like kids in the house. Like, I mean, you have 3, 4 kids. I mean, the amount of laundry you're doing is pretty crazy. You're probably going to save a lot on your electric bill if you try to hang dry like half of your laundry, and at least. So that's the reason prints and things like that fall apart. And then people blame it on the print when they say, "Oh, well, vinyl is not good because it peels off." Well, is vinyl not good, or did you not follow the care instructions? Because, like, if I've had vinyl stuff that lasts years and years and years. years. I've had holes in the clothes before the vinyl print peels off. So it comes down to taking care of your clothes and actually following care instructions as they're written. 'Cause most people don't do that, and that's a challenging part of that's challenging, right? Because you sell somebody something, they abuse it in the dryer over the course of 6 months to a year or longer, 2 years, and something starts happening to the print, and then and they say, well, Daybreak Enterprises, they don't print their stuff very well. It's like, well, really? We don't? Because you didn't follow the care instructions. So it's like, so follow the care instructions, and your prints will last a super, super long time. I don't know how long. I can't put a number on it, but a very long time. They'll probably outlast the shirt. The shirt will have holes in it before the print starts coming off. So let's show you some examples really quick of these jerseys and what goes into the process of making jerseys. So what do we know about jerseys? Like, what is different if somebody wants 15 jerseys done for their like, these are flag football jerseys, and they wanted 12 jerseys done. What do we know about jerseys that's different from just like a regular print run of regular t-shirts? Jerseys have numbers on them. And not only do jerseys have numbers on them, sometimes if people are really sporty, they want their last names on jerseys too. So let's think about that for a second. Let's say like this flag football team, they have 12 jerseys with 12 different numbers. They didn't do last names because they're not that sporty, but they did different numbers on each one. So let's think about that. If I had to screen print 12 jerseys with 12 different numbers, and let's throw last names in there too. Let's say last names are on there too. So I need 12 numbers and 12 last names. That means I have to burn 12 screens. I have to make 12 screens with 12 different numbers and 12 different names to print one jersey. So you're not going to find anyone that's going to screen print jerseys. I mean, I guess you might. There might be somebody that does it. There's a lot of shops that might have like pre-burned screens for numbers. But even then, that's not very efficient because you still have to clean the screen. You still have to flood the screen with ink, and then you have to clean the screen. So that's not efficient to screen print one number on one jersey. I mean, if you're making like large volume, I don't know why you would do this. Actually, I do know why you would do this. So like, let's say you were like a rec league basketball association. Like, let's say Westlake's where I grew up. So like, let's say Westlake Rec Center wanted to they had for their 9-year-old and 10-year-old rec league basketball teams, they needed 10 different sets of jerseys numbered 1 through 12. Yeah. So that, like, let's say they needed like 10 different sets of jerseys, just generic, like, and all the t-shirts were just different color. They were just printed with white ink, and they were all just different colored t-shirts. So like, one team was purple, one team was red, and each team was just numbered 1 through 12. So in that case, yeah, because then you would be printed with white ink. You would use white ink, and you would print. Yeah, you'd print like 10 different shirts. But even then, like, screen printing, yeah, that still wouldn't be very efficient. Screen printing 10 shirts. It's just not efficient, right? So I don't know. I guess maybe if you were making 50 sets or 100 sets of uniforms, I don't know why you would ever do that. I guess maybe like online there's like basic uniforms that you can buy with numbers on them. Then yeah, that would make sense where you have to make like 50 sets of uniforms or something like that, or 100 sets of uniforms. If someone's just selling like generic uniforms with numbers on them, then yeah, that would make sense. But if you're making custom uniforms like these, you're not screen printing them. You're using vinyl 100% of the time. Now, a caveat to that is transfer companies, like companies that make plastisol transfers, they a lot of time, like Stahl's Transfer Express, they sell like pre-made, pre-printed numbers that you can buy and then just press them into shirts, which is nice. I mean, that's a nice little, that's an option. But then again, you only have the numbers. You don't have the team name on the front. So then it works, but it doesn't work at the same time. So for these fellows that needed these jerseys, we cut all the numbers out on the right here on the vinyl cutter individually, cut each number out and press each number into the shirt, and then cut out the team name on the front. So we got the Silkworth sausages on the front. Some nice gold vinyl. See how nice that is? How nice that is. You can't really tell from the video, but this is like a really like smooth matte finish. I like really, really love this vinyl. And I'm going to talk about which vinyl this is. I'm going to do like a mini review about it. But you can see it's a nice, smooth, matte finish. It's really nice. And then, yeah, so then numbers on the back. This is number 4. And this is like a Vegas gold. I don't know if you can really tell, but this is gold. And Vegas gold is like just, it's almost like a browner gold. I don't know, browner, or it's just like a different shade of gold that I like a lot. As opposed to like a yellow, super yellow gold. You can tell this isn't like super yellow. So yeah, really nice. These were super fun to make. I don't know if they were actually, I lied, these weren't super fun to make. Because, I would say they're just fun to make. I would say they're not super fun to make. Because vinyl is, when you cut out vinyl, so like, on all these like holes here, like these holes, that hole right there, that hole right there, that hole right there. So you have to like weed out all those little holes with your little weeding tool. It's just like a little tool that you use, and you got to weed out all those little holes. And it's time consuming. It takes time. I gotta like sit down in the chair when I do it, or else my back starts to hurt because I'm like bent over. But yeah, so you gotta weed out vinyl after you're done cutting it on the vinyl cutter. You gotta weed out all the, so it doesn't cut, the cutter doesn't cut and weed for you. It just cuts, and then you have to pull the parts of the vinyl that you don't want there anymore. So everything that's around, everything that would be, so like when this came out of the vinyl cutter, it was just a white square, and then I cut out this hole, I weeded out this hole right here, and then I weeded out all the white that was around this. So it's called weeding, and then you have a big mess of weeded vinyl like that. So yeah, that's kind of the process of making jerseys is, we're going to use vinyl. We're going to cut it out on the vinyl cutter and get the numbers. And so like if they wanted last names too, what you would do is with this number 4 here, above here would obviously be the last name, and you would just cut the last name out. So you would cut the last name out with the number 4, and then you would press the number 4 and the last name on at the same time, and that's how that would work. It wouldn't be like the last name wouldn't be like a third print. It would be part of the number. Price-wise with vinyl's not cheap. It's definitely a lot more. This is another thing. It's actually a lot more expensive than plastisol ink. Like when you print plastisol ink on a t-shirt, that ink that you deposit on a t-shirt, on like one t-shirt, pennies. It's like literally pennies. It might be less than a penny's worth of ink. That's how cheap plastisol ink is. It's extremely cheap. It's dirt cheap. So that's a really nice thing about printing with plastisol ink, is you're not stressing too much about material costs because plastisol ink is so cheap. Vinyl, on the other hand, is not cheap. So, like that number 4 on the back of that jersey probably cost, I don't even know, maybe $1, $2, something like that. So it's definitely more of a cost consideration. You're definitely like thinking about, but again, it's not like a lot of money. It's not like a significant expense, is what you would say. It's not like a big expense, but it's an expense, and it adds up over time. But it's a small expense. It's not really expensive, and there's not like, as far as like from what I can tell, there's not like cheap. I only buy like the really good vinyl. Like I only buy I'm only going to use like the best materials. I'm not going to use like cheaper materials or anything like that. So like the vinyl that I buy is the highest quality stuff that I can find. And I guess that's actually like a really good segue into specifically this vinyl. So this vinyl here is new. It's a new product from our good friends over at Stahl's. Stahl's started making this vinyl, and give me 1 second here and we'll actually look up the name of this vinyl. Stahl's. Good stuff. Good folks over at Stahl's. Good people. Ultraweed. That's what the name of this stuff is. Ultraweed vinyl. And I'm on their website right now, and there's like they make like a million different kinds of vinyl, like I talked about. So like, I mean, you got your stuff on here for polyester fabrics, that needs a lot of stretch. What else? I mean, God, they have extra durable stuff for like football jerseys, where kids are like smashing into each other at high velocities with helmets on. So you would need something that's like more abrasion resistant, as they say. They make all kinds of crazy stuff. They make glitter vinyl if you want to just be like all glittery and stuff. They make really shiny metallic vinyl. They make they make puff vinyl. So like puff vinyl, like it puffs up after you press it in. Yeah, I gotta get some of that puff vinyl. That's what I need. I gotta order some of that. So yeah, this is the Stahl's Ultraweed. And I think this stuff is new. I don't think they've been making this for a long time. I could be mistaken about that. I'm probably going to get corrected in the comment section. But this stuff is really amazing. And they consider it a low temp, so let's look. So they consider it a low temp vinyl, which means you don't need to press it in at a high temperature. So what is the temperature that they recommend? 260. That's really low. So 260 to 300. I press everything at like 310 or higher. But they say with this stuff, you only need to do, and I actually pressed this today. I turned the press down to like 290, which means it was probably up at like 300 or 305. And it pressed just fine. And yeah, I can't say enough good things about this stuff. The just to get into like the nitty gritty a little bit, the carrier sheet on this is really good. It's super sticky, so you can like stick it to your shirt or whatever. You can stick it there and make sure it's lined up correctly and it doesn't fall off. It peels really well. The carrier sheet peels really well when you're done pressing it in. It comes off like super smooth, super easy. I like couldn't. This is the first time I've actually used this Stahl's Ultraweed. Could not be happier with this stuff. I think it's amazing. I can't say enough good things about it. This is definitely going to be my go-to vinyl moving forward. I like it more than this next one that we're going to talk about. So we have this is Thermoflex vinyl. This stuff is pretty good. I've had issues weeding with it. When I weed with it, sometimes I've noticed like little parts coming up off the carrier sheet, so it doesn't weed particularly well. One thing I will say about the Stahls, if you are ever going to use it, is yeah, if you're ever going to use this and you're operating with a Cricut like I am, you need to turn down the pressure of your cutting, whatever you're cutting with. You need to turn the pressure down, because I tried cutting this vinyl with the same pressure that I cut the Thermoflex vinyl, and it cut right through it, cut all the way through it. It was like it massacred it. So you got to turn the pressure down, and I can't remember the exact setting that I put it on, but you definitely need to turn the pressure down. And I have some Cricut vinyl, just like the regular Cricut vinyl that you can get at you can get it basically anywhere. You can get it at all the craft stores and whatnot. That stuff's really good. It's expensive, but like if I needed vinyl like now, and I did have time to like wait for something to come in the mail, I would have no issues using the Cricut stuff. It's really good. It's got a nice smooth matte finish to it. Another really good thing, just real quick about vinyl too, is you can print things in like tough to print locations really easily, because you're just cutting out your like, let's say you have a logo this big. I got some logos like this downstairs that I forgot to grab, and like let's say you wanted to print them on headbands or something. They would be like really easy to do, because you just like set them down on the headband and then you press them in with your heat press and you're done. And like if you wanted to screen print something like that, it would be like a complete nightmare. So screen printing isn't like this screen printing is great. Screen printing is like the industry standard for producing like large volumes of prints and stuff like that, and that's fine. But if you're operating a business that I run, where I'm doing like super custom stuff, like I have my friends at Excalibur, and I'm probably going to do some platform tees for them, and that's like really custom stuff, and you can't necessarily screen print all that kind of stuff. And like jerseys like this, like you're not going to really be able to screen. You can do it if you want to. I'm not going to do it though. And I'm not gonna screen print, 12 jerseys. I'm gonna use vinyl because I we are a company that uses vinyl. We're not afraid to say that. We're not afraid to use vinyl. We expect our customers to follow our care instructions. Like, I give the care instructions to people expecting them to follow them. It's not like an optional thing. Like, when I give somebody something with our care instructions, it's not like optional. Like, you need to hang these up to dry. You need to turn them inside out. You need to wash them in cold water. That's what you need to do. And and yeah, it'll last a really, really long time, and you'll be really, really happy with it for a long time. And yeah, I'm not afraid to use vinyl. I'm not afraid to, talk about vinyl. And I think maybe some like screen printers, they like look down on vinyl, or they think it's like cheap or low quality or something. But I think vinyl is like super high quality nowadays, and I love it. Like, I love it, love it. Like, I love using it. I love printing with it. I love like this logo right here, and there's a big on the back of this hoodie. There's a big, Daybreak Enterprises across the back, and I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I love it. It's good quality. It's not like crap. Take care of it. Take care of your clothes. If someone gives you care instructions, follow them. Pay attention. Like, have respect for the hard work that somebody like me puts in to make stuff. Like, I worked hard on these jerseys. So if I give you care instructions, I expect you to take good care of it. You know what I mean? Don't ruin my hard work in the dryer. Don't do it. You know what I mean? And you'll have a shirt for a long time that you love. It's not gonna crack and fall apart and look like shit because you ruined it in the dryer. So yeah, these are jerseys. They look awesome. We don't only do, like these complex reverse dyes jerseys. We can do solid jerseys. We can do regular tie-dye jerseys. We can do whatever you want. We're not a tie-dye company. I think a lot of people. I don't want people to think like, oh, like if we order, like they don't make regular jerseys, they only make tie-dye jerseys, and that's not the case. You make whatever you want. So I'm gonna sign out for now. I hope that was informative and gave you lots of awesome information. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, like this video, and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to get notified, because we're going to be releasing a lot more fun videos for you guys. Okay, that's it. I'm out. Peace.